everyone, welcome back to Novel Nomad and welcome to another Top 5 Wednesday. Now today we're going to be discussing classics that you'd like to see a modern adaptation or TV series of. This is basically because of the amazing Lizzie Bennet diaries. If you've ever seen those, you can watch them on YouTube. I'll link them down below. It is fantastic. I binged basically all 100 episodes over 2 days, so probably do it when you have a bit of free time because they are addictive. But what I thought I'd get into is some of the books that I would love to see as a modern adaptation. Number one is going to be no surprise, going with the Austen theme, and that is Persuasion by Jane Austen. And I love Persuasion. I think it's a very soft, beautiful story that I think can be very well adapted into modern times. I think this idea of love being lost and then found again can easily happen within a very fast technical age. And I think that would be amazing to see a modern adaptation of Captain Wentworth and Anne. Next is going to be a bit of a fun one, and that is The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. I adore this play, and whilst I do adore it in the period in which it was written because it just adds such a charm and idyllic golden age to the play itself, I think it would just be absolutely wonderful, highlighting that classic British humour, but also highlighting the bit of the ups and downs of trying to be someone who you're not and trying to persuade a persona that really isn't you but is you at the same time. So I think that'd be excellent, especially with different social media platforms. You could just play this kind of persona which is you but not you as well. So I think The Importance of Being Earnest would be fabulously good fun. Next we have one of the two Dickens I have on this list, and that is Hard Times. I think Hard Times would be quite an interesting adaptation because it talks about different expectations on children, on life, to really move away from the ideal, the imaginary, the creative, and into this kind of harsh reality. And I think that is always the argument that's going on, is when is it too far to remove funding and different activities of the arts into your everyday lifestyle, because there needs to be a balance between realism and fantasy, escapism and reality. So I think this would be a really interesting one to kind of make those discussions and see if we're throwing too much into one basket than the other. Next one I would love to see, only because I haven't seen many adaptations of this one, and it would be a bit of an epic, so you could see it as a really great TV series, and that would be Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. I think it would be incredibly fascinating to have this as being women in science as well, because the main character is incredibly fascinated in science and biology, and she learns a lot from one of her neighbours who she quite admires. But I think it would also be interesting to look at how women can be depicted and the relationships between each other, how at once it can be trying but also giving strength to each other. And I think that would be a really fascinating adaptation for a modern audience. So the last one on the list is going to be another Dickens, and that is A Tale of Two Cities. This is quite interesting because it's set during the French Revolution, so when something chaotic is happening across in France and you have all these refugees fleeing to England, how they are treated and how the attitudes at the time treated refugees of different classes, of different wealth, status, background, things like that. So I think that would be incredibly interesting to put into a modern perspective, and even put it within some of the current refugee crises that are happening around the world. And I think that'd be very interesting to draw attention to how times and perceptions of people have not changed since the 1700s or even the 1800s, how there's always this perception of the other. Alright, so that was a very quick video, but I love my classics and it was not hard for me to choose 5. I mean, it was hard to narrow it down, but to choose 5 outstanding stories that I think would work so well into modern society, it would just be so much fun. So tell me down below a classic that you just absolutely love, or a classic that you'd love to see in a modern setting. So thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!